Alright, rear derailleur update. Took off the GS long cage for the Shimano 105 in the R7000 and put back on the older, I believe this is the 6800, maybe, short cage SS, short cage derailleur, and added 2 links on here to accommodate the curve of this cable, and put it all back together, tuned it all up, put on the 1125 ultegra cassette, and I was able to, because the 11 tooth had very little splines to hold on to, just due to wear and tear over the aluminum cassette free hub body. What I did was I took some saw blades. Let me show you what they look like. Yeah, so I took a miter saw blade, right? This is a miter saw. I took a miter saw blade right here, and I milled it down. I milled it down with a Dremel tool, rotary tool, to this size right here, right? Milled it down to this size, and which is, let me show you on the cassette. Which would be the same as milling it basically from the point of the end of these 3 cogs to the end of the cassette body, and adding just a millimeter extra to compress down with the lock ring. So I use the Dremel tool to Dremel it down on the edge of the spline, on one of the thickest splines, which would be like this one. I Dremeled it down enough to fit one of these, right, to create this type of effect right here, kind of like that, right? Which it would look more like this, actually. It would look more like this, and then you'd be able to just put it like that, and it would extend out just a touch, just a hair, kind of like there, kind of like that, and then the lock ring would cap over it like that. So I did that. I made 2 of these. I put one on the biggest spline and one directly on the opposite side, and then I also milled off the back ends of the cassette body that caused the cassette to not go as far back. I milled those back totally flush with the end, so that this last final cog could recess all the way flush back against the most back. And then I was able to fit all 11 cogs of the 11 speed on the 10 speed SRAM, on the 10 speed SRAM S60 wheel set, and I didn't have to buy anything fancy. The reason I did these is because the splines on there were already severely indented from years of sprinting on it, and the 11 speed cog was about ready to freewheel. Give it a couple more months on the 11 tooth, and the 11 tooth would just freewheel without these metal reinforcers put into the sides of the splines, which would be like over here. And I'll show you the Dremel tool that I used. Yeah, so I used this Dremel 200 rotary tool right here, and I'll show you the exact disc that I used, which was not this one. This is the sanding disc that I used to sand down these splines here. Right. And this was the one I used to sand down or remove material from the actual cassette body. Took away just enough, little by little. A little goes a long way here. Just enough to zip, zip, zip right there, right on the edge. Make sure you mark it with a permanent marker first, right here, just like that. And then use the rotary tool to just zip off a fine edge right there. And then use a straight file to flatten it out. And then once you do that, you will have something that looks kind of like this. And then you just slip the middle piece in between, just like that. And you use a little bit of a small hammer. Use a small hammer to just tap it in place. Right? Tap it in place just like that, right there. And then you have a fully reinforced in the most important area, because back here the cogs have a wider surface area, as you can see, and they don't do as much damage. But over here they do a ton of damage to the cassette body, and these thin cogs cut into the aluminum cassette body, and this is how to prevent the damage to them. So super cheap fix. All you need is a Dremel tool and one of these miter saws that you could get at any hardware store. I found they're just the right amount of thickness and durability, because it's got to be durable. This is a saw for wood, so the metal is very durable. You don't have to mill down the sides, just the sharp edge until you get a flat surface. And it has to be thin enough to just fit that space right there. Yeah. And then you'll be good. And I'll show you the specific kit I got here, right there. The Dremel kit. If you need extras, use these right here.